Hello, my dear bachcho. Exams are near, so don't take tension. Chalo, let's quickly understand this simple story by Joseph Conrad called Tomorrow. It's a little sad, yes, but the ideas in it are very important for your exams, and I'll make it super simple for you. Pakka promise.
So, we're going to break this story down into 5 easy-peasy parts. This way, you can remember the whole plot, point by point in your exam. It's a great trick for long stories. Okay, you ready? Let's dive in.
First up, let's meet our main character. He's a very strange and mysterious old man named Captain Hagberd. Now, just look at this fellow. He wears this really odd suit made from sailcloth, has this huge white beard, and he's always digging his garden. But here's the funny part. He never plants anything, not a single seed. He just digs and digs. So you can imagine the people in his town think he's a little bit mad.
So what's the deal with all this digging, right? Well, the entire town knows his story. Everything he does every single day is for one reason and one reason only. He's waiting for his son Harry. His son ran away from home a long time ago. Now listen, Bacha, this point is the absolute key to his character. If a question comes on his character sketch, you have to write this.
Okay, here's a very common question they ask in the exams. Think for a second. Why did he come to this particular town, Colebrook?
The answer is actually quite simple and also quite sad. He got a letter, which was probably a cruel joke, saying his son was seeing in Colebrook. So he rushed there, searched everywhere like a crazy person, but found nothing. Still, he just couldn't leave. He felt that his son must come back to Colebrook for some reason. So what did he do? He sold his old house and bought a small cottage there, just to wait.
Now, this is a very important point to understand. His waiting was not just simple hope. For Captain Hagberd, it grew into a complete fantasy world, a whole universe built around just one single powerful word.
You see, in the beginning, he used to tell everyone his son would come back next week. Then that changed to next month, and then next year. But after so many years, his hope became so strong, so certain, that it all boiled down to one single word. He started saying his son would return tomorrow. Always tomorrow. Always just one day away.
And this is how deep his fantasy was. He even bought the cottage right next to his and filled it with all new furniture for Harry and his future wife. He'd talk about all the fancy tables and carpets, but he never ever let anyone go inside. It was his secret, perfect little world, which would only be revealed when Harry arrived, you guessed it, tomorrow. This is a perfect example to use if you get a question on illusion versus reality in the story.
Come on, think about it. Who was this future daughter-in-law he was planning everything for?
Exactly. He had already decided that his young neighbor, a girl named Bessie Carvil, was the perfect wife for his Harry. He would often wink at her and talk about the wonderful life they would have in the new cottage. Now, this was a little sweet, but also very awkward for poor Bessie, you can imagine, and it always made her blush.
Okay, now let's talk about Bessie. She's our second important character, and her life is the total opposite of the captain's. While he lives in a dream of tomorrow, she is stuck in a horrible today. Pay close attention to this difference, Butchone. It's a major theme of the story. Bessie's life is very sad. She spends every single minute taking care of her father, Mr. Carvil. He's blind, but he is also a very cruel and bossy man. He screams at her for everything, treats her like a servant. She has no freedom, no friends, and certainly no hope for a tomorrow of her own.
So you see the massive difference here? It's like night and day. And the writer, Joseph Conrad, did this on purpose. They're neighbors, just a fence between them, but their worlds are totally opposite. On one side, Captain Hagberd is trapped in a prison of hope, a sweet dream. And on the other, you have poor Bessie trapped in a prison of reality, a terrible life. This comparison is a very important literary technique to mention in your answers.
Now, Bessie is a kind girl, so she listens to the captain's stories about tomorrow day after day. She never argues. Why? Because she tried once. She gently suggested that maybe his son won't come back, and his reaction was terrifying. The book says he looked at her with such horror, it was like the sky itself was cracking open. So she learned to just play along, to protect his fragile little dream world.
And now we come to the most exciting part of the story, the climax. After all these years of waiting for tomorrow, something finally happens today. So one evening, a stranger shows up at the captain's gate, a confident-looking fellow. He asks about the old man who keeps putting ads in the newspaper for his lost son. Captain Hagberd immediately gets scared. He thinks this man has come to make fun of him. The captain completely panics and runs and locks himself in his house. The stranger then turns to Bessie, who came outside to see what all the noise was about. And then he says the most shocking words of the whole story. He says, "Well, I am his son. It's him! After all these years, the real Harry Hagberd is back."
So, the moment that Captain Hagberd has been waiting for his whole life is finally here. But what happens when a beautiful, perfect dream suddenly gets hit by a hard, messy reality? Let's see. And here comes the saddest, most ironic twist in the story. The real Harry is at the door, but Captain Hagberd doesn't open it with a hug. No, he shouts at him from the window and even throws a shovel at him. Why? Why would he do that? Because in the captain's mind, his perfect imaginary son is arriving tomorrow. This real man who has come today must be a fraud.
Just look at his words. He calls his own son a grinning information fellow. He even warns Bessie to stay away from him, shouting that he will spoil everything. Spoil what? He will spoil the perfect, beautiful, safe dream of tomorrow. In the end, the captain chooses his fantasy son over the real one. So tragic.
All right, let's quickly recap the key themes for your exams. Please make a note of these. First, hope versus delusion. Second, isolation and loneliness. Everyone in this story is so alone. Third, the past versus reality. And finally, the prison of the mind. This story shows us that sometimes our own minds can be a bigger jail than any real one.
And that, my dear bachcho, is the story of tomorrow. What a powerful lesson, no? You see, the captain's dream, it was like a shield, protecting him from the pain that his son was gone. But that same shield, tragically, also blocked the real son from ever coming back into his life. It's something to think about, isn't it? Okay, chalo, study well. All the best for your exams. You are all going to rock it.